What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Full 90. It is time for Champions League Week 7 predictions for the first time ever. Massive shout out to all of the new subscribers that have joined the channel, have been watching the other videos, La Liga, Serie A, Bundesliga, as well as the Premier League regulars. We've gone up nearly 1,000 subscribers in the last month, and I really appreciate it. So let's push forward to 40,000 subscribers. If you keep supporting the videos, I will keep doing them. It really, really means a lot. Flash up on the screen all the people that have joined the Patreon and are supporting me over there. They get exclusive members tips and accumulators. You can message me directly. We had a really cool winner yesterday of Forest to win and Chris Wood to score, and Man City to win and Haaland to score at odds of 5-1. I thought that was pretty cool. If you want to get a shout out in every single video and access to these tips and everything like that, then be sure to click that first link in the description. But with that being said, it's Champions League. There's 18 games across 2 days, so we're going to just get stuck straight in. I'm not going to spend too much time on each one because there's so much to get through. So kicking off, we do have Atalanta up against Sturm Graz. Now, Atalanta suffered a 3-2 defeat to Napoli in the Serie A, but I think they'll be able to bounce back here in the Champions League against one of the weakest teams in the competition. I'm just going to go for a 3-0 win. The tip is going to be Atalanta -1 handicap at 1.53. If Ademola Lookman starts, I'd look at Atalanta to win and Lookman to score. Every single time I watch Atalanta play when Lookman's playing, he looks like he could score. So that's worth a shout. Atalanta to win this one quite comfortably. After this, it's Monaco up against Aston Villa. Now, if we look back to the Premier League, Aston Villa came from 2 goals down against Arsenal and made it 2-2. I think it's actually going to be the same scoreline here against Monaco. I think Monaco are a decent team. Villa have had a really good Champions League campaign so far. So I'm going to go for a high-scoring 2-2 draw, and the tip is going to be both teams to score at 1.57. After this, it is Atletico Madrid up against Bayer Leverkusen. We correctly predicted Leverkusen to win 3-1 in the Bundesliga. I, however, did not see Atletico Madrid losing to Leganes in La Liga. I said under 2.5 goals, but I did not think that they would fail to score. And I'm going for a little bit of an upset here. I'm actually going to go for Bayer Leverkusen to win and say 2-1, but the tip is going to be Bayer Leverkusen double chance and both teams to score for odds of 2.5, which I think a score draw is really likely here. I'm just trying to push the boat out and go for a bit of an upset and say that Atletico Madrid lose at the Wanda Metropolitano, which is something I'm sure not a lot of people will actually predict. After this, it's Benfica up against Barcelona. I found this one really difficult. I initially went with a draw, but I thought, you know what? I'm just going to shade it to Barcelona and push for the value. I think... No, you know what? No, screw it. I'm going back. I'm going to change it. I'm going to say 2-2. I was going to say 2-1 to Barcelona and say Barcelona and both teams to score. But you know what? I'm just going to keep it at both teams to score because I just think Benfica at home are a really good team and Barcelona have been a little bit up and down in the last few months. So, yeah, we'll go with a 2-2 draw. I'll go with my initial gut reaction. If you want to back Barcelona and both teams to score, the odds are 3.1, but we'll go with both teams to score instead. Speaking of which, we travel over to Bologna up against Borussia Dortmund. This, again, a very difficult one to predict. I've been told by many of you as well in my Bundesliga video just how bad Dortmund are away from home. And you know what? I'm going to heed that warning. Bologna as well, decent at home. We predicted them to win by 2 goals at the weekend in Serie A, and they did. So I'm just going to split the difference here and say 1-1. The tip is going to be both teams to score at 1.61 because I think Dortmund can get a goal, but I don't think it'll be super high scoring. Speaking of that, we move on to Club Brugge up against Juventus. Now, Juve actually got a good win against AC Milan, winning 2-0. Club Brugge in fine form in the Belgian league, but this is another level up. I think it might be a step too far, so I'm just going to shade it a classic 1-0 win to Juventus, and the tip is going to be under 2.5 goals at 1.72. After this, in contrasting fashion, a game that I think could have tons of goals, it's Red Star Belgrade up against PSV. Now, PSV suffered a shock defeat at the weekend, losing 3-1. I thought that I did not see that coming at all, I'm going to be honest. But I think they bounce back here. I think they get the win, and I think there's going to be a lot of goals. So I'm going to go 3-1 to PSV. You could go PSV and both teams to score. You could go over 3.5 goals at about 1.9, but I'm just going to say over 2.5 goals at 1.44. You could just chuck that in an ACCA. I think that looks pretty good. PSV should score plenty of goals here. After this, it's Liverpool up against Lille. Liverpool winning 2-0 against Brentford at the weekend thanks to 2 stoppage time goals from Darwin Núñez. I think they win this again. I'm going to go for Liverpool to win 2-0, and I really like the odds to back Liverpool and under. and we don't even need to go under 3.5. Liverpool to win and under 4.5 goals gives you odds of 1.72. Do Liverpool win this one 5-0? No, I don't think so. So I'm going to say 2-0, Liverpool and under 4.5 goals at 1.72. But that allows for a massive 3-1, 4-0. I think they win in under 4.5 goals. The final game for Tuesday is Slovan Bratislava up against Stuttgart. Bratislava, the team we tipped at the start of the season to finish rock bottom of the league at odds of nearly 5-1. And now they are very much still odds on favourites to finish bottom of the league. And it doesn't get easier after Stuttgart because on the final day, they have to play Bayern Munich, who will probably still have something to play for thanks to the new format and their weird results in the Champions League at times. So Stuttgart coming off of a brilliant win, 4-0 at the weekend. I think they carry on. Stuttgart to win 3-1. The tip is going to be Stuttgart and both teams score at 2.5. And I hope there's a lot of goals against Bratislava because it could come down to goal difference as to whether or not they finish bottom of the league because there's a few teams on 0 points. I don't think Bratislava pick up a point, but, you know, you look at Young Boys and they are right down there as well. So I think they're going to lose quite convincingly here, Slovan Bratislava. But moving on to the next day, RB Leipzig up against Sporting. I think if Leipzig had something to play for at home, they could get the win here. But they have nothing to play for, and they want to keep an eye on the league. It's not like they can qualify to the Europa League. They can't make the knockout stages. This is an irrelevant game. Sure, if they win, it would be literally cool for the fans to watch. The only reason they have to win is to give the fans a performance, and all it does is stop Sporting getting the result. And I don't think psychologically that's going to be enough. So I think originally, if there was something to play for, I'd probably literally go Leipzig to win 2-1. But given that Sporting have something to play for, Leipzig don't, I'm going to say 2-1 to Sporting, but the tip stays the same. Both teams to score at 1.5. After this, it's Shakhtar Donetsk up against Brest. Now, Brest have had a brilliant Champions League campaign. I think they'd still be happy with a point here. Any more points they can get. And I know it's not exactly a home game for Donetsk, but this is just a gut feeling. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw, and I'm going to tip draw at 3.2. I think Brest have overperformed in the Champions League. I think Shakhtar have underperformed. And I think for this game week, it might actually match up into the middle and create a stalemate. After this, it's AC Milan up against Girona. AC Milan, as I said, losing to Juventus. Girona losing to Sevilla. I think Milan win this one. I'm going to say 2-1, and the tip will be AC Milan and over 1.5 goals at 1.66. That allows for a 2-0. That's the only reason I've done over 1.5 goals and not over 2.5 or AC Milan and both teams to score. Just in case we see a little 2-0, I'm keeping that one on side. Speaking of which, we move on to the Emirates for Arsenal up against Dynamo Zagreb. Now, is the Champions League Arsenal's best shot at silverware this season? It's going to be difficult, no doubt, but anyone can win knockout football. You know, if you're at Arsenal's level, you have a chance to win the Champions League. I think they win this game quite comfortably. Nothing crazy because Arsenal haven't been scoring tons of goals. And obviously they bottled it to Villa in the Premier League. A little bit frustrating, but I'm going to say Arsenal to win this one 2-0. The tip is going to be Arsenal and under 3.5 goals at 2.15. They don't let in many, but they haven't been scoring from open play all that much. So Arsenal and under 3.5 at odds of 2.15 is a massive odds increase. Is it going to be 4-0? I highly doubt it. So that's what I'm going with there. After this, it is Celtic up against Young Boys. Young Boys, as I said, one of the teams right at the bottom. I hope they do get a point from this game to sort of cement Bratislava at the bottom of the league, but I don't see it happening. Celtic have had a decent Champions League season. I think at home they can cause some problems, so I'm going to say that Celtic win this one 2-1, and the tip is going to be Celtic and both teams to score at 2.5. After this, what promises to probably be the highest scoring game of the game week, it's Feyenoord up against Bayern Munich. And let's not forget Feyenoord with their massive comeback against Man City to make it 3-3 in the Champions League. And of course, Bayern Munich with, for example, their 9-2 win over Zagreb. I originally looked at this matchup and just spurted out 6-3 to Bayern Munich. But then I thought, let's make it a little bit more realistic, but still crazy. I'm going to say 4-2 to Bayern Munich. And the tip is going to be Bayern Munich and both teams to score at 2.6. Feyenoord are going to score. And I think Bayern Munich are going to win. I think Bayern and both teams to score here is a very, very good shout. I seldom tip anything other than Bayern Munich and both teams to score these days. And sometimes Bayern will win to 0. I get that. Like at the weekend, they won 5-0, but we actually tipped over 4.5 goals in that game. So that was fine too. I just think they will concede here against Feyenoord. So Bayern Munich to win and both teams to score. After this, probably the game of the week, especially because of the implications it has for the Champions League. PSG up against Man City, both teams teetering on the edge of qualifying and being knocked out. I mean, it's likely that both of these teams will qualify to the knockout stages, but I think this is going to be a tough one. Both teams want to win. Man City obviously got a 6-0 win against Ipswich, but this is going to be a tough game for them. So I think it's going to be high scoring. I think it's going to be entertaining. I'm going to say 2-2 between the two European giants. The tip is going to be both teams to score and over 2.5 goals at 1.8. Both teams to score is 1.5. So for just either of the teams to get a second after that point is an extra 0.3. So I think that's really good value. Both teams to score and over 2.5 goals. After this, it's Real Madrid up against FC Salzburg. We tipped Real Madrid and both teams to score at the weekend against Las Palmas, and Real Madrid let Las Palmas score in the first minute, which saw that one come in. So I think Real Madrid win this one and both teams to score again against Salzburg 4-1, and the tip will be Real Madrid and both teams to score at 2.4. After this, we have Sparta Prague up against Inter Milan. Inter Milan winning 3-1 at the weekend. I think they're going to win this one, but it'll be lower scoring. I don't think they concede. Inter Milan I don't know if they've conceded like no goals in the Champions League, I swear. So I'm going to say Inter Milan to win 2-0. And the tip, Inter Milan to win and under 3.5 goals at 2.2. Again, a massive increase and probably higher odds than Inter Milan win 2-0, to be honest. So even though Sparta Prague have had some decent games this season, I think Inter Milan are good enough to keep a clean sheet and win this one 2-0. But that does it for the Champions League this week. If you did enjoy it, please do drop a like, subscribe, as I said at the start of the video, so you don't miss any videos. We've got Bundesliga coming up, then Premier League, Serie A, La Liga as well, all that good stuff. Those 5 leagues on the channel, we're going to keep pushing through. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know your predictions in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video very soon.